Welcome back. You are still watching the big story here on One News.
Here's a little something to look forward to for the weekend. The Great British Festival is back, taking place on October 19 and 20 this year at the Bonifacio Global City. It is an annual festival co-organized by the British Embassy Manila, the British Chamber of Commerce, and the British Council Philippines. Now, this year is extra special as it coincides with the UK-Philippines Friendship Day and marks 78 years of diplomatic relations between the two. British Ambassador to the Philippines, Laura Bofel, says the festival will celebrate the rich cultural ties between the two nations. Joining us tonight to talk us through that Great British Festival, we have Chris Delson, Executive Director of the British Chamber of Commerce, who joins us live from the United Kingdom. Chris, it's great to have you back. Thanks for your time.
Yes, I hope you can hear me clearly, and good evening to everybody and your viewers.
Yes, we can hear you clearly. What can you tell us about the 2024 Great British Festival and what sets it apart from the ones before this year's edition?
So I'd say, first of all, we've managed, and we're very happy to say it's grown. Last year, when we revived it, we had 38 participating companies. We've increased that by almost 50%. We're now up to 56. We anticipate even more attendees. Last year was 50,000 estimated by the Fort Bonifacio Development Corp. And we have a rich and varied program. And this, as you rightly said at the beginning of your program, highlights on the 20th, it's the UK-Philippines Friendship Day, and reinforces the close ties, and I would say continue to grow close, both through obviously culture, friendship, and increasing trade. So a much bigger event, and we're very pleased to welcome everybody from the 19th and 20th, starting at 10 a.m. until 10 p.m.
56 businesses, did you say? 56
Correct.
Participants. What are some of them? What can we look forward to?
So I think, first of all, of course, there's companies that you know, PruLife, Shell, these are major companies, HSBC, but we also have local businesses who have UK businesses. BDO will be there, the Philippine National Bank, all of them have businesses in the UK, which also reinforces the close connections. We'll have local companies there. We have obviously providing food. We'll have Tao Protein, Tattoo Baker, these are shops. We'll have Union Jack Tavern, which is obviously reinforcing this. And these businesses, another one which we'll emphasize is CyberQ. Cybersecurity is a growing business. And I'd just like to say that now the UK and the Philippines, it's the 61st in terms of total trade between the two countries on a worldwide basis. And it's up to 2.7 billion. So major UK companies, we'll also have Land Rover there, along with Philippine companies that have close ties, as I mentioned, who are also members of our chamber. And that reinforces that in the UK, there are over 200,000 Filipinos. Now, of course, many don't have British citizenship, but constant relationships are growing. So these are the businesses we'll see there.
Chris, aside from the businesses, food and drinks, what can we expect from the event?
By way of entertainment.
Well, we'll have varied entertainment. We'll have a whole program emphasizing, of course, sport, football or soccer, as it's called in other countries, cricket, which is less known, but obviously is a well-known UK sport. We'll also have culture, as we did last year. That will be brought to us. But also we'll have, groups. We'll have the British School of Manila, we'll have Nord Anglia, and then we're going to have groups, entertainment going on into the evening, West End, we've got Spit, we've got improvisation. So it's going to be a very varied program, and along with it, we're going to have a pub quiz, which is a staple in the UK, and of course, a showing of British films. So overall, you're going to have a compendium of activity, excitement, people to take part. Obviously, those booths are going to be running their own activations. And at the same time, you'll see culture and entertainment.
Okay, Chris, I just want to kind of divert from the events this weekend a bit and just ask you, it is 78 years that we're celebrating for the friendship between our two countries. Where can you say we're at right now, and how does this reflect in Philippine-UK trade ties? Have they gotten better in 2024?
Oh, I think it's steadily increased. I mean, look, if you look at it, we've been working this as a chamber. I've been with the chamber over 10 years, and I've seen a constant growth. We've seen companies, and if I can just highlight, particularly in 2024, we've seen that continuing to grow. One aspect which I'll just highlight is we work very closely with a trade board called the Agricultural Horticultural Development Board. They focus on the exports of beef and pork. And I'm pleased to say that, for example, pork exports to the Philippines for the first 6 months are up by 26%. And this is a jointly mutual benefit. It helps with food supply, which helps with inflation in the Philippines. And of course, you access to high quality UK food products. So that's just one example. And we're seeing a lot more interest. And one thing I'll just highlight, as you rightly said, I'm in Europe and I will be going to the UK on 31st of October. And there's going to be a Philippine economic briefing when the economic team from the Philippines, that includes the Department of Finance, Department BSP, Budget Management, and also the Special Officers, Frederick Go, Secretary Go, will be there presenting on investment opportunities in the Philippines. And I think that's a reflection of the growing ties. And we're hopeful to keep growing and obviously get that figure up from being 61st in terms of ranking between the UK and the Philippines to a much higher figure. So yes, a lot of interest, but we can continue to do more.
Still in the growing ties, are you going to be providing opportunities for those who would like to study in the UK or maybe those who have not yet decided on studying in the UK?
Although we
Well, very
ourselves are
good.
past the
There's
studying
very-
age, anyway, but
Not the self-serving question at all.
Not at all. Yeah, I think you can all, yes. Well, we will have actually a very wide selection. In fact, the highest number of companies is on education. And that reflects the fact that we have high quality education. As I mentioned, we've got the British School, Nord Anglia. But at the same time, we've seen continuing growth of interest in UK universities. And linked to that also, let's not forget, the UK runs a thing called Achieving Scholarship, which actually supports scholars, particularly after an undergraduate course for a one-year program. So you're quite correct to say education is a key theme, and UK education is known through the world, and we're very pleased to see Filipino students taking advantage of that. And that also strengthens ties between the two countries. And there are now a number of Chevening scholars, and that has reinforced that. We work with the British Council as well, who are a key part of this festival.
right. Chris, to that point about agriculture, the British Chamber actually was a huge proponent of the Anti-Agricultural Smuggling Economic Sabotage Act, which the president just signed into law 2 weeks ago. Basically, it penalizes, smugglers, hoarders, and cartel activities more severely. But what specifically is the British Chamber hoping to get out of this?
So look, we're very pleased it was signed. Some of our members were also keen to be part of that. It was one of the priority legislations. And I think it reinforces a couple of points. The first is that it obviously wants to support the local sector, but also protects legitimate exporters and importers. And as we see, agriculture is a key, and food supply is very critical. And I would just highlight back to your question that it's pleasing to see that inflation has actually gone down again in the Philippines. And one of that reasons, and one of the key factors of that is on food pricing, of which, of course, you have rice, but also you have, obviously, meat products. So I think you're quite right. I think what we see from this is that, A, it reinforces the agricultural sector, it protects legitimate exporters, importers, and also is a protection to the consumer that they're obviously going to be buying from legitimate, quality, sustainable food.
And any other legislation you're looking to push after this? What's the next thing?
Yes, thank you. We're actually looking to push two specifically. One will be the Cyber Security Act. We think this is a very critically important bill. I would commend already they've passed the Anti-Financial Scamming Act. But to reinforce that, we would like to see the Cyber Security Act passed. And we also would like to see the E-Governance Act passed. The British Chamber is proud to be an ARTA champion, an anti-red tape authority. And in that, one of the things we think we should improve is e-governance. When we've been working with companies, actually, that's always their question, how easy to do business, what is the issue of red tape, and in that, if we can do e-governance, I think that will strengthen the system.
Well, nobody's going to be disagreeing with you in terms of red tape and doing business here in the Philippines. Again, Chris, thank you so much for your time. Chris Nelson, Executive Director for the British Chamber of Commerce here in the Philippines.